On the mound is the normal left fielder for K-State, Dylan Phillips, who did split some time as a pitcher in the summer leagues last year in the Northwoods League, and also has one appearance so far this season. It was in relief. This will be his first start. A young man that has really been a superstar in the high school ranks, the prep ranks up in Omaha, Nebraska. K-State has long wanted to get him up on the mound and some experience as a pitcher. He will get that chance today, trying to lead K-State in what's expected to be a staff day. A lot of different guys throwing as they try to get back on the winning side of things against South Dakota State here today. Our umpires, Dean Carlson behind the plate, Travis Olson at first, Robert Dickinson at second, Conan Strobel over at third base, and we are ready to go for baseball here in Manhattan, Kansas, and in a climate where you're not quite sure if how many more of these will actually have fans on site for a baseball game. Dylan Phillips towing the rubber from the very far side, ready to throw his first pitch to Landon Badger, who was kind of the hero last night for South Dakota State, and he's laid on a fastball, and we're underway just a few minutes past the top of the hour. Now, Dylan Phillips, a left-hander that can run a fastball in the upper 80s, a good curveball, and a changeup. He has not pitched in 13 games as you get a first look at the curveball slash slurve that he throws home for a strike. Left-hander at 6 foot 220 is Phillips going against Landon Badger, who last night drove in 2 RBIs with a 2-out RBI single in the fourth that gave the Jacks their 4-0 advantage. And he strikes out on 3 pitches against Dylan Phillips at a good start for K-State.
No fooling around right there. He went right at him, right out of the gate. 3 pitches.
Keys to victory, Mr. Craig Wilson, as to what K-State and South Dakota State need to do today.
Well, SDSU needs to continue their timely hitting. They didn't have a whole lot of hits last night, but the ones they did have were very effective. Duplicate the Eli Sundquist outing and the addition to the staff. Riley McSherry will have his work cut out against him with K-State trying to get back on track tonight. For K-State, forget about last night. Chalk it up as a bad night and come out of the gates fast tonight. And then get after it offensively. You know, we talked about it earlier that the Wildcats struggled a little bit offensively, swinging at some bad pitches. They're going to need to get some good swings tonight to get the win.
Yeah, 8 hits in last night's game, but the Wildcats stranded 6 of those 8 in scoring position and never really were able to get going offensively. And the Wildcats could not string together those big hits, nor get the big 2-out hits that they needed. 1-1 pitch set skyward. A slight south breeze today, blowing the ball out towards left field. Kokoska in center field will make the grab on this. It shouldn't help the ball too much, but it is noticeably warmer today. 68 degrees at first pitch. A beautiful day here in early March.
We did see some balls get hung up in the air last night with it being a little bit chillier. You might see the ball travel a little bit better tonight.
Certainly to left field if folks can challenge the left field. This is a small ballpark and plays smaller when the wind is blowing out, as it does usually later in the spring. Curveball in the outside corner misses to Braden Brown, who began this year making the move from being a first-team All-Summit League performer at second base to the outfield to make way for Luke Ira, a sophomore who's taken over that spot. But with the absence of Steiger, Brown back from the outfield into his infield position. Well, that curveball at 77 from Phillips certainly seems to make that fastball quite a bit more.
It is. It looks like they're having a little bit of trouble picking it up because it's he's elevating his fastball, and he's getting some of the Jacks to chase him up out of the zone.
Former Nebraska Gatorade Player of the Year was Phillips, 2A star out of high school, 3-time All-Stater. Put up eye-popping numbers at the plate and on the mound coming out of Omaha. Somewhat of a local celebrity up there. 1-1 is fouled back. I remember last year K-State playing at Creighton at TD Ameritrade Park, and there were a number of Omaha media outlets that wanted to talk with Phillips prior to the game. He was just a freshman and was in the midst of his season with K-State. Nothing to stand out-ish, if you will, with his performance, but well, they were anxious to talk to him as he had bypassed the hometown Blue Jays to come to the Wildcats. Ground ball right back to Phillips. He'll just fling it over to first base. Sperlin steps on the bag, and a 1-2-3 top of the first for Dylan Phillips. Wildcats coming to the plate. We'll return on Big 12 Now. Fans at a sporting event could be a rarity in the coming weeks as folks try to adjust to life with COVID-19 here in the United States. Dylan Phillips, in the meantime, we play baseball, and Josh Falk at the plate to lead off here in the second inning.
I have to believe some of those little guys are going to make their way out to the jungle gym out there.
That's right, the Seidlinger family playground area that is down the left field line. Wonderful new addition to Toyton Family Stadium. This is the perfect day. Spring break. Got the kids. Get them out here. Fastball that was up. Checking was Falk. Some groans from the fans, but that was clearly not a swing by Josh Falk. Had a 9-game hitting streak come to an end here at the ballpark last night. And that got a piece of him. Phillips tried to come inside with a fastball and clipped him. Well, that is just ball 4, I should say. And he'll head down to first. Either way, if it hit him or whether it missed, he's on to lead off the second.
K-State's got to make sure that, the last inning with those check swings and everything, that don't get them off track, right? Phillips came out, had a good start to the game, had a couple bad calls the first inning. They got to regroup, make sure they don't let it affect them.
Phillips gets a fastball past Drew Beasley, who's the designated hitter in today's game. And Phillips pumping strikes. Just missed.
I like his approach right now. He's really lost the last hitter, but he's really going after these guys.
Fouled away. Stays 1-2.
As you can see, that last shot too. It's a little more difficult for a runner on first to be able to get a good lead, get a good jump off of a left-handed pitcher.
I would think that holding runners would be one of the more difficult things for a two-way player like Phillips to really work on and refine as he misses home 2-2 to Beasley. You're spending a majority of your time most likely working, in Phillips' case, as a hitter and at left field trying to learn that defensive position. He came to K-State as a first baseman. He may get a couple of bullpens.
Well, there's a patience piece to holding runners on too. It's right, changing up your speed, changing up your look, and not letting that pitcher get a rhythm of what you're trying to do, right? And as you said, he's a position player too, so he's amped up. He wants to go get the hitter. So, but there is a patience to where you want to switch up your timing.
Phillips misses high and back-to-back walks to open up the second. So after a very effective first, a bit of an inauspicious start to the second, and Buck Taylor, pitching coach for K-State, is on his way to the mound to visit with Phillips. So there might be something mechanical that may be just a bit off.
Well, especially in the first inning. First inning, some of the hitters were going after some of that high stuff, and I know they probably went back in and said, hey, guys, let's bring it down a little bit, make sure we're laying off some of the high pitches. So he's lost the first couple here with the high pitch.
Buck Taylor, second-year pitching coach for K-State after 13 years as the head coach at Palomar Junior College out west in California. And Buck Taylor, you can see him, he's wearing actually a different number. Not that you fans may not notice that, but he's wearing 14, and that is the number of his very good friend John Altobelli, who was the head coach at Orange County Community College, who was killed in that tragic helicopter crash with Kobe Bryant that got so much coverage here a few months ago. Buck Taylor was actually asked to be the keynote speaker at John Altobelli's funeral that was held in Angel Stadium out in California and give the eulogy. So it's been a bit of a tough go here the last month or so for Buck Taylor, dealing with that. Chris Ceballos, catcher for K-State, played for John Altobelli at Orange County.
Wow.
And he, too, went out for the funeral with Coach Taylor. Luke Ira now the batter. Shows a bunt. K-State was ready for it, but the pitch missed. Look at Ceballos.
So right there, it looked like from a defensive standpoint, Spurlin's charging in from first base. Dylan's job is going to be to cover the left side of the infield. Cam's going to stay put at third base unless the ball is bunted hard enough to where he can come get it. They're going to potentially, if the ball's bunted hard enough, they'll try to get the runner at third.
Ira bunted at the pitch and missed. And it's 1-1. More difficult or easier for a left-handed pitcher to make that throw to third base?
I would think it's a little easier because obviously you don't have to turn your body. With right-handed pitchers, you're going to have to field it, turn, fire. Sometimes you don't have, you don't see pick up the third base bag as much. But for a left-handed pitcher, it should be fairly easy.
So if you're Ira, you're trying to get this first base side or third base side?
I always, depending on how everything was happening.
Right, so in this case, K-State's crashing first base.
Yeah, first and second, you're going to want to make the third baseman field this ball. So you want to get it, you want to bunt it down the third base line far enough away from the pitcher
right,
to where the third baseman has to come get it.
So you're not wanting to deaden it necessarily. You want to get it
to him.
Kind of hard bunt that forces Thompson to leave the bag.
At least close to the line. It could be soft, but it has to be close to the line.
Now swinging away at 2-1, and he fouled it back.
Yeah, I always preferred, when I bunted, bunting it to the right side. That was just easier for me.
First base side.
Yeah, I could always push it a little bit better. Yeah, turning the bat, getting the angle. It's all about getting the angle and getting on the eye level of where the pitch is, and making sure that barrel's above the ball at all times.
Well, the bunt will be off here at 2-2. Breaking ball, almost the exact play that they needed. First, Spurlin, because of the slow choppers, only play is to tag the runner, and the runners move up 90 feet. So Ira gets the job done.
He does. The only problem is he gets an out on that instead of a sacrifice. But job's done, and he helped his team.
So runners in scoring position for Carson Max. Max missed 4 games prior to the K-State series, but had been off to a great start as a freshman and continued that last night, going 1 for 3 in the ball game against K-State. And he'll take strike 1.
This is a situation where Dylan could be a little bit careful. Throw some off-speed pitches, run some pitches up out of the zone. If he walks Max, it's not a big deal. It sets up for a double play, maybe a force out at home. But Max is just going to try to put this ball in play somewhere in the middle of the field, get the runner in.
Phillips wants to go through the signs again. Wants Ceballos to give those again. The runner out at second, trying to disguise what the Cats want to do. Fastball, center cut, lifted out to shallow left. Maxson on the run will make the grab. He's got a great arm, and holding at third base is Falk.
Really nice play out there by Maxson. Wasn't the easiest one. It looked like it was fisted a little bit. He got in, got a good jump on it. It was just shallow enough where they didn't want to take a chance. Makes a nice throw, hits his cutoff man. You see Cam right in the middle of the field, right where he should be.
And that'll be it for Phillips. So Pete Hughes will signal to the bullpen where K-State had a pitcher warming up. Again, it was going to be an abbreviated start today for Phillips. And after getting 2 outs, want him to end on a high note.